Here's the #1 method for making consistent progress in your weighted calisthenics journey. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how I'm able to prevent plateaus and how I got a 200-pound weighted dip. Long story short, the deeper you get into your lifting career, meaning the number of years that you've been training, the more intricate your training and overall strength programming has to be. For example, I remember when I first started doing calisthenics, I would be seeing like results every 2 to maybe like 3 weeks. Take the dips, for example. In order for me to essentially identify progress, I would either do more reps or sets or slow down the tempo to increase the intensity. The process of actually building muscle and continuing that strength adaptations. But then it got to a point after maybe a year or two where I was able to do 4 to 5 sets of 20 to 30 plus dips, right? The dips with just pure body weight got simply too easy. So after some time, I started to research about weighted dips, right? I think I found one of the videos on YouTube, not sure who it was, but essentially all it is just adding more weight to your body for the actual dip. So after 2 to 3 years of training the weighted dips, I was able to get to a point of being able to go from complete body weight to now doing 160 pounds added to my own body weight for like up to 3 to 5 reps. Now this feat in it itself is pretty impressive, right? For most people. But I will say that I never actually had a systematic plan and actually knew what I was doing in my workouts other than trying to shoot for more reps, more sets, or just increasing the amount of load that I'm doing on the dips. So it's a very linear approach. I'm not gonna lie, a very straightforward way of thinking, just doing more. Right? That's what most people want to do when it comes to implementing progressive overload. But like I said, man, the further and further you get into your lifting career, the more intricate and detailed your strength programming has to be. Otherwise, you're just going to be hitting major plateaus and forever going to be stuck in that intermediate phase, right? Now, this is where periodization comes in. In order to make consistent progress without hindering recovery or performance, having planned governed variables like managing specificity, one's exercise selection, intensity, the amount of load or progression, and finally volume, the amount of sets and reps that you do per week. So these are all variables that need to be taken into account to make consistent progress, right? That being said, I recommend having a training cycle of anywhere between 6 to 10 weeks. And the reason why there's a big range is because each and every person will have different work capacities, different exercise selections, and just recover differently based off their day-to-day lifestyle, right? So these can all extend or shorten the period of training for that specific cycle. And by cycle, I'm talking about just training cycles, not the other cycles, all right? So that being said, I personally, after about a year of doing this, figured that I like to stick within the 6 to 8 week training cycles. And after training for this amount of time, I then take a deload or complete rest week. So I'll talk a little bit more about deload and rest weeks into detail a little bit later in this video. But for now, I'm going to be breaking down actually 2 of my weighted calisthenics sessions, specifically on the weighted dips and chin-ups, and kind of just walk you through exactly how I implement this periodization training into my own routine. So let's get on to this video, man. So this is right here, me doing my first set on the dips, just body weight. And peep how I'm going pretty controlled on the way down, but exploding all the way up. So I'm putting a lot of power into this. Then we have the second warm-up set, but this time I added a plate. And I know it's kind of crazy to say that I'm doing weighted warm-up sets, but 45 pounds is mad light for me at this point. Then we got 2 plates, 90 pounds on me. So I think on this one, I'm just focusing on doing a very, very slow eccentric and pushing all the way back up. And then the next couple sets will just be singles. So this right here is a 160 pound single, another weighted warm-up set. And I'm gonna pause it right there. So real quick, I kind of just showcase all of my warm-up sets. I think I did 2 bodyweight sets, but I just only showed 1 on camera. And essentially, it's just to kind of get the joints moving. You get me? The blood pumping so you don't feel any aches and pains down on your top set or back down sets. And then I like to work my way up to my top set. So in this video specifically, or in this week specifically, I believe it's like a week 5 or 6 out of the total 7 or 8 weeks. So I'm pretty close to hitting a PR, right? I'm about to hit that PR week, right? So I'm trying to test if I can hit a new PR. So last training block, which was about a month and a half ago or 2, I hit a PR of 195 pounds. And I actually made a full video on that as well. But kind of going into a little bit more about the warm-up sets, think about it this way. You want to make sure that you're priming your body and CNS to be ready for the top set. So as I'm getting heavier and as I'm getting closer to my top set, what I like to do is reduce the amount of repetitions that I'm doing. So with body weight, I kind of do like 5 reps of like quick explosiveness, or sometimes I like to slow it down just to kind of help feel that intensity, you get me? Because that's another way of increasing the intensity is by slowing down the rep. And then on the weighted warm-up sets, I like to do about 1 to 3 reps with weights. And as I'm getting heavier, like I said, I just reduce the amount of repetitions. I do singles or doubles, sometimes playing around with the tempo as well, going super slow, hold at the bottom, push back up, or I do like a normal tempo. This kind of depends on how I'm feeling, right? So this right here should be the attempt of me hitting 200 pounds for 3 reps. Yeah. So first rep looked good. Second rep looks solid. See what the third rep looking like. Could not get all the way up, man. Could not get all the way up. So pause right there. The reason why I'm showing you this failed attempt, right, is because I'm going to be honest, even though you can stick to a plan, adhere to it, things won't go as you want it to go because sometimes shit happens, right? So like I said, this was like week maybe 6 out of the 8 weeks that I'm doing for this training block. And I was ready to hit a PR, but I think mentally I just wasn't there, or maybe like the setup wasn't optimal. So sometimes, whenever you do have a PR week and you're about to attempt that PR, you might not just hit it. So I'm just going to go ahead and showcase what I did for the rest of the session to kind of give you just a full breakdown of like what I'm doing. And over here, we have my first back down set. So essentially a back down set is whenever you're reducing, at least in my context, I'm reducing about 20 to 25% from my top set. So I believe that's like 150 or 155 pounds from 200 pounds. So I did 5 reps, solid back down set. This right here is going to be my second back down set. So same weight being used, but just getting another set in, man. And essentially the purpose of like having back down sets is to make sure that you're training to, relatively close to failure. Because if you think about it this way, if you did the same amount of weight for extended number of sets, once you're true, you're pushing it to actual failure, you're not gonna be able to do that same load for that same amount of reps for that same technique. It just doesn't make sense. All right, so this kind of helps me stick to that high RPE, train to failure, without risking myself for injury because I'm adjusting the amount of load that I'm using, but still training within that high intensity at the end of the day. This right here is then, I think, just my top set on the weighted chin-ups. I believe this is 145 pounds. I've done it before, but this is me trying to reclaim it for a stronger PR. And as you can see, I completely failed that. I didn't even get the third rep, which is crazy. So it kind of goes to show that I just wasn't ready to hit no PRs that week, right? Or even reattempt old PRs on the weighted chin-ups specifically. So it kind of goes to show that, sometimes you can be sticking to the plan, but, I think that week, in the middle of that week, I was kind of sick. So I was probably a day or 2 after recovery from the flu and stuff like that, or it might have just been a common cold, I don't know. But that could have been an issue as to why I didn't hit that PR. Another reason why maybe the setup wasn't right, because I was using my friend, I was using his chain belt or something like that. And yeah, just a whole lot of variables. Once you get super, super deep into your training career, you start pushing heavy loads, every single detail matters. That's exactly what I'm trying to tell y'all right now. So now moving on to the following week, right? So this is week number, I believe, 7 out of the 8 training weeks. So this is when I try to reclaim, that failed attempt from the previous week. So here we have, again, my top set at 3, 200 pounds. First rep, nice. Second rep, green. Third rep. Hey, tempo was perfect. So I was like, you know what? let me go ahead a fourth one. But I was like maybe like 70% there. But yeah, that was a very solid attempt, I would say. I went back to my original gym where I'm comfortable training and recording too, because my other gym didn't allow like recording with a tripod, which is nonsense. But yeah, this was a very strong set, and the fact that I went for a fourth one kind of showcased that the previous week it was just not meant for me. So this week I was like more than strong enough to hit 200 pounds for 3 reps. Remember, top set of 3. I wasn't trying to really get 4. I was like, F it. I never go outside of the rep range that I try to target unless I'm like just feeling confident that day. You get me? So yeah, that's a 200-pound weighted dip for 3. So this right here is gonna be my back down sets. So kind of similar to the last week clip that I showed y'all. I believe I did 150 to 155 pounds. Let me just double check before I give y'all incorrect numbers. So yeah, this is 160 pounds actually for 5 reps. I reduced it by 20% from my top set. And yeah, everything looked good, man. I'm not gonna cap. Then we have the second back down set, same weight, same reps, just a closer shot. You know, peep the striations on the shoulders, man. No cap, man, no cap. It's getting up there. I might need to start cutting. I'm trying to get shredded, but I also like how I'm feeling right now at 193 pounds. Like I'm feeling strong and I'm still looking lean too. Like I can see my abs, I can see striations, veins popping. So I don't know, maybe 190 is the comfortable weight for me for optimal performance. So here we have, I believe, my top set on the way to chin-ups. This is 145 pounds. I'm pulling strong on these right here. Boom. Made that 3rd rep. Very green, very successful. Then I went ahead and dropped it by 20% from my back down sets. So that's going to be 115 pounds. Did that for 2 sets. But unfortunately, I only recorded it for 1 set. You're just going to have to believe me at this point. But yeah, this is a pretty successful session that I would say. At the end of the day, what I want to kind of showcase to y'all is like a little bit more detailed programming with what I'm doing. Because at the end of the day, like I said, the more you go into your lifting career, the longer you've been training for, the heavier the loads, the more intricate your programming has to be. And you got to be very specific. Like what I do right now is like I take notes, right? Every single time I hit a top set of whatever, right? Whether it's a strength-based session or hypertrophy-based session, I kind of write it down on my phone so I can remember what I did the week previously, right? Or even look into like other training blocks too to kind of gauge how my progress is doing on a like big scale, right? So, yeah, I highly recommend you taking notes if you're not doing it already. It does kind of just help reestablish that, credibility, keep yourself honest, and tracks progress, no cap. But that being said, I'm actually on week number 8 right now as I'm filming this video today. And I think I'm going to be hitting a deload week next week. So that's going to be like a week number 9 per se. So essentially what I'm doing on a deload week is just cutting the amount of volume in half. So instead of me doing 2 to 3 working sets, I'm only gonna be doing like 1 working set, maybe 2, depending on the exercise that I'm doing. And you could go about it this way by cutting the volume in half, or you can cut the intensity in half as well. So I like to kind of make a big jump in terms of like how much I'm dropping the percentage. So I might just drop it either by 40 to 50%. So instead of me doing, my typical working sets of like 3 for 200 pounds per se, right? I would cut it all the way down to like, what's 200 pounds with a 40% reduction? So I would do like, 120, 135 pounds for 3 reps as my deload session for my strength-based session. So that's the deload week that I might do, whether I'm cutting volume or cutting intensity. Just gonna go based off the vibes. And then following that week, I actually have a trip. So I'm going to have a complete rest week where I don't do anything. I might be doing like a couple bodyweight stuff here and there, but nothing really crazy to stimulate actual growth and strength gains, right? And that's pretty much it, man. After that week, we'll probably just rinse and repeat, but I'm gonna save that for a whole other video. But hey, what do I know? If you like to see more content like this, be sure to follow me, man. I'm the Tough Fitness Scout here. No cap.
Cobra Trains, he's up next. Make sure y'all subscribe to him. He's #1 out here.
He's the toughest fitness guy out here.